I was involved in a Twitter thread. Wow, I already lost half of the viewers. I was involved in a Twitter thread that was just sort of it happened organically, right? So myself and a couple of cam girls were talking about online bullying, through that we experienced on Twitter. And we were comparing notes about who has said awful things to us or to them. And one girl said that, or one young woman said that there's a person who is known on Facebook and on Twitter as Kelli Roberts. I have doubts to the existence of this person. Maybe at one time this was an actual person, but I feel that the online persona of this Kelli Roberts, and on Twitter she goes by Miss Kelli, MissKelli XXX, and on Facebook the account goes by Kelli Roberts, I think. So I believe that maybe at one time this was an actual person, but I believe now it's probably more of a conglomerate of individuals that are creating this online persona. So of course people are commenting on my mental state of health, calling me a drug-riddled drug-riddled addict who is tweeting out conspiracy theories and whatnot. Now, and that's why it makes me laugh. It makes me laugh. It hurts my feelings, of course, but it makes me laugh because if these people had seen the organic conversation as it unfolded, they would understand how I came to reach this conclusion. Now, like I said, now, for instance, there's a person I know, the person known as Mike South. There's an actual human being known as Mike South. Mike South also had a website called MikeSouth.com. Now, currently, Mike South, the human being, no longer runs the website called MikeSouth.com. Currently, the human being known as Mike South no longer runs the website called MikeSouth.com. That individual, the individual known as Mike South, was forced to sell his website. And there's guesses as to who runs the website known as MikeSouth.com. It is multiple people. There is a person who owns it, but then there's also multiple people who write for it. One of the individuals being the persona known as Miss Kelli XXX or Kelli Roberts. Okay. Now, Miss Kelli XXX or Kelli Roberts also had or has a website called Naughty News. Okay, so but there's people who actually know of this Kelli Roberts, the human being known as Kelli Roberts, or people that know of the individuals that Kelli Roberts worked for, know that Kelli Roberts was paid to be relocated, or people paid to relocate the human being known as Kelli Roberts or Miss Kelli XXX. Okay, so the human being known as Kelli Roberts, sure, she might have existed at one point, and maybe she was an award-nominated producer director. I don't know this personally because I've never met the woman, but what I can tell when I read the writings of Miss Kelli XXX or Kelli Roberts on Facebook, it reads the things that this persona writes read to me as if it is written by multiple individuals, male and female. So I've always wondered, who is this Miss Kelli XXX? Who is Miss Kelli? So Alexandra Myers asks, have you heard this voicemail? I listened to 4 words of the voicemail, and I recognize it immediately as being the voice of Alana Evans. Alexandra Myers asks me, are you sure? And I said, as sure as I am about, back of my hand, right? And I said, but just to make double sure, I will go back to the voicemail and I will listen even further. So I listened to almost the full length of the voicemail, and there's a point in the voicemail where the woman's voice says to Alexandra, calls her a psycho.
Good job, psycho. I told you. Put down the bottle, go get help. Listen, I tried to help you. You're a psycho. I am so sick of people like you.
And the way she says psycho, literally, as much literally, I felt it was bone chilling, because not only did the word psycho have a visceral reaction with me due to the many times that Kelli Roberts, aka Miss Kelly XXX, has called me a psycho, but how many times Alana Evans has called me a psycho, how many times Ruby has called me a psycho. Ruby also an officer of the union, APAG union, and how many times Kelly Pierce has also called me a psycho, Kelly Pierce also being a member of APAG union. So the word psycho really chilled my bones, but it was the voice who said it. I recognize that voice as Alana. I've never heard Kelli Roberts' voice, because remember, I don't even really truly believe that this woman exists anymore. I've never heard Kelli Roberts utter the word psycho. I've seen it written, okay? But I've heard Alana say psycho to me. And there is no doubt in my mind that that voice that was on that voicemail from September of 2017 that was left for Alexandra Myers, and the woman identified herself to Alexandra as being, she identified herself as Kelli Roberts. Now, Alexandra also told me that during the time that she was supporting and promoting APAG Union, she could never get Alana on the phone. The only person she would talk to was Ruby, which goes completely against everything that APAG Union is about. Because Alana is the person that always talks to everybody. But why wouldn't she want to talk to Alexandra Myers? Unless, of course, she was afraid that Alexandra Myers would recognize her voice as being the individual who identified herself as being Kelli Roberts in September of 2017. Seems pretty logical to me, right? Okay. So then myself and Alexandra were just like, holy fucking shit. We just inadvertently identified one of the people behind the persona of Kelli Roberts as being Alana Evans. So how does Alana respond? Well, they all respond by attacking my mental state of being, my living situation, the fact that I have a GoFundMe, and then they even said that Alexandra Myers is taking advantage of my bad state of mental health, and in order to get numbers. Oh wow, thanks. Really? Wow, so you think that I have that much power, that I could create that much viewership for another individual? Wow, thank you. Gosh, I mean, because all this time you guys have called me a nobody, that I've got nothing, that nobody listens to anything I say, but yet here you are claiming that Alexandra is taking advantage of me in order to get more viewership for her. Isn't that weird? I think it's weird, right? And another thing, these people who claim that I'm full of shit and I don't know what I'm talking about, Alana Evans then goes on to Twitter and says, cheap shot, right? And then Alana Evans then goes on to Twitter and tweets out to Chris Thorne, of ex-critic @XCRITIC, Chris Thorne, spelt CHRIS, capital THRONE, Chris Thorne of ex-critic, who's also on Facebook. She tweets out to Chris Thorne of ex-critic that he should be ashamed of himself, something to the effect that for allowing writers to remain on his payroll or something like that. Writers that basically he should fire any writer who likes my tweets. So the person who brought this to my attention, I saw the tweet. Again, I'm doing handheld here, so I wasn't prepared for this. Okay, I also saw the message. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I also, Chris Thorne, saw the message that you posted in your private writers group, thereby declaring an anti-Melissa Hill policy, where you instructed all of your writers to not engage with me on Twitter. You called me Melissa Hill / Monica Foster, and you called me her. So you actually think that I, Melissa Hill, and Monica Foster? Shows you how little you know about the industry, Chris Thorne, because Monica Foster is black. Now, the last time I looked, I'm not black. I'm white as can be. And I'll be honest, Monica Foster, she's pretty dark. She's pretty much she's on the pretty dark side of dark. We are two completely separate individuals, yet you actually think that we are one and the same. You actually think that there can't be two separate entities, two separate individuals, two separate women who believe that we also have our different belief systems as well. Okay, we have things that we believe in that are separate from each other. We don't agree on everything, but one thing we can agree on is that Alana Evans is full of shit. We can agree on the fact that APAG Union is nothing but a mean girls club. Okay, and the fact that you didn't, instead of allowing your writers their freedom of speech, their freedom of the press, you are dictating to your writers who they cannot follow on Twitter. And you demanded that all of the writers stop following my account because I'm toxic. But you didn't even bother addressing the fact that there's some woman who is the acting president. She wasn't voted there. She put herself there. Let's make that clear. No one voted Alana Evans into the office of president of the union. She put herself there. Want to know how she put herself there? She made it nearly impossible for Shawn Michaels to exist as president of the union because he was president. He was the voted in president of the union. I just wanted to say that for those of you who may or may not have been following along, or maybe you're curious, how did I just arbitrarily come to the conclusion that Alana Evans is Kelli Roberts? I didn't arbitrarily come to the conclusion that Alana Evans is one of the people behind the Kelli Roberts persona. It was a very organic conversation that took place on Twitter, and through the Melissa Hill Raw Talk Twitter account. So you can go there, go back to this weekend, and you'll see there was a conversation between me, through Melissa Hill Raw Talk, Bobby Dillon, and Alexandra Myers, where it was a very organic conversation. And Alexandra says, "Have you ever heard this voicemail?" "No, I've never heard this voicemail." And I was like, "Yep, that's Alana." And here's another thing. If it wasn't Alana, why did Alexandra get a takedown notice suddenly from YouTube the day after this? It's been up for 2 years.